In the darkest blackness of human carnage and suffering, police, fire, and EMS intercede on behalf of mankind. God himself reaches out to those who suffer through their hands. Their service is a clear and unmistakable demonstration that God does not abandon people in the storms of life.
You know, you're supposed to stay connected and stay together. And so I say that for a reason, because that mindset with this generation, and it's not just this generation, so let's not take offense here, but this mindset where, you know what, if something better comes along, I'll say I do at the altar unless something better comes along, and then I'm outie. Well, that's not how this works.
No.
You were meant for commitment. That's what works best. Now, my wife and I just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary, and it's something that I'm very grateful for. But, Chief, it took a lot of work, a lot of sweat and tears, a lot of repositioning, readjusting, some of my mindsets.
Well, let me just throw something in there, because I got 52 years just yesterday.
And congratulations, sir.
And I'll tell you that it hasn't got any easier in terms of having to work together to make things work. It's still full of compromise. It's still full of communication, connecting. You have to keep that connection going. And if she's listening right now, she's saying, "You're talking it, but you ain't living it."
Oh, boy.
So, next.
So, in the context of resiliency, the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, if we keep pulling out of things because of something better, then how are we going to really develop a resiliency?
As you were talking about that I thought, man, this does dovetail right back to resiliency, because without resiliency, you won't have that stay power, if you will.
No.
And like we mentioned, I think it's dollar signs a lot of times that deceive people in terms of the grass is greener on the other side. When I look at, I've been very fortunate here over the last several months that we've been involved here at the Sheriff's Department to see some of the officers and talk to them, as well as the admins, and they've got a great thing going here in terms of the connections. You can really see that that's been a very important part of this.
Well, it is, and I know we've said everything rises and falls on leadership, and I want to tell you that my job as a career pastor, now 20, almost 30 years, so we're coming up, it'll be 29 years, coming up almost 30, so between our time in West Virginia, Oklahoma, the things that we've done there, and here in Northern Illinois, I have more than 30 years of ministry under my belt now. And the only way that I was able to get to this place in life was to have the attitude that I'm not quitting. I have arrived. There is no plan B. I'm here, and that's it. And I've had to turn down opportunities to leave and go elsewhere. When the going got rough and it looked like we lost everything, we stayed the course. So my attitude, and this may be an attitude that perhaps maybe some people are lacking of a more modern mindset, maybe this attitude lacking, is that unless God tells me, I'm not going anywhere. I have not been released. I have not been released. I am here. And so that helps develop my resilience, that no matter what happens, I mean, that's just the way it is in my mind. I'm bouncing back. I'm coming back. I'm not quitting. Knock me down, I will get back up. Knock me out, I'll wake up eventually, at some point. And I know this is a simplistic, maybe almost idealistic viewpoint, but resilience, and again, it's the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. It's the ability to spring back into shape. And this is one way that you can be resilient, is just tell yourself, it's a mental mindset. I'm not quitting. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not looking for anything else. I'm not searching for fulfillment anywhere else. This is it. This is all that I want. I have everything that I need. This is where I want to be. Now, what if another opportunity comes along? I've had them come along.
Yeah.
And you simply say, this is tough to do, Chief, but you simply say, watch this. You ready? You simply say, no. No.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. I had one guy, this is kind of a funny story. And again, I mean, we're talking about resilience. We're talking about employee health. We're talking about the ability to be to recover and to be tough and strong in difficulties. Now, I'm not talking about the calls per se. I'm talking about life.
Right.
I'm talking about difficulties in life. I'm talking about family challenges. I'm talking about health challenges. I'm talking about maybe people that have to work with coworkers they don't like. I don't have a choice. I got to work with this knucklehead. I can't stand this guy. Or, administrators that you don't trust. You need resilience. You need to be able to focus and to recover. And it helps to know that, and this is the way I did it. This is the way I've reached this level. There is no plan B. This is it. There's nothing else. And I want to be here and to do this. So keeping healthy begins with a mindset. Keeping healthy continues with a mindset. And then once you reach the place where you do eventually retire, you need a purpose. You need a purpose. And the purpose cannot just be, well, I've earned it, so I'm just going to kick back and do nothing. Well, that might get old for some people. I've heard story after story of folks that say, man, as soon as I lost my purpose and stopped doing something, I went downhill quick. And so the peer support team, the chaplaincy, we're not just here for active employees. We're here for retirees as well. And your spiritual health is vital. And
I think just to throw that, piggyback on that a little bit, because I didn't have this, and I wish I received it afterward, and it was good that I did. But pre-retirement requires some thought and preparation as well. I worked right up to the last minute, shut the computer off, turned in my keys, dropped my pager, and left. And it worked for me. I was very fortunate that I had the spiritual was beginning to fall into place for me. But I've been retired since 2008, and I'm still working on the spiritual part of it. Realizing that there's a lot of power within that I don't have on my own. I need that spiritual hook in order to be healthy. Otherwise, I've had plenty of times when it'd been like, I'm not getting out of bed.
Yeah, I so respect that part about you, where you're honest and transparent enough to share. And not everybody is. Let's face it. It's kind of embarrassing to admit certain things, and you obviously have been, and it's probably a good place to talk a little bit about this. That what you have meant to me and to our ministry, I cannot overstate and overemphasize how much it has meant. That at one point in your life, you probably thought, you're absolutely nuts if you think I'm going to help you with all this and do all this. I'll come and worship God. I'll come and support you with that. But apart, and truthfully, you are my go-to guy for everything, which I sometimes I wonder if I'm asking too much of you, but it's like, then I get to thinking, no, I think this is good for you.
Yeah.
Because it keeps you focused and centered.
We talk about first responders, fire, EMS, police, corrections, and telecommunicators, even our military. But to me, this has been a first responder. This was a perfect fit for me because usually don't have much prep. For instance, even for doing this podcast today, we knew that we need to get one put together, and was looking at more towards the end of the week. And I thought, oh, good, because I got some things that I want to study up on first. And then I just get the message, hey, I've got time today. We're going to do it today. Here's one word for you, resiliency.
Resiliency, yeah. Blessed are the flexible.
But I think that's the best way for me to operate is just like it was on the fire department. We didn't have a call log that we were able to read before the calls happened. We made the call log after the call happened. You never know the address where you're going or even what type of a call it's going to be. And that's, I guess that's maybe part of me or what God gifted me with to be able to do that, because I love nothing more than when things are kind of falling apart and you say, hey, I need some help here. That's just kind of that's, I guess, the purpose, if you will, that maybe I operate under. I'm not sure myself sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to put some of this stuff into words.
Yeah, that's the truth. And there's just so many different variables and things to consider. But it's important that you have a handle on the fact that while you are different, you're also the same. You have the same needs, same ambitions. I mean, you want to raise your family and have them be successful. You have grandkids. You want your grandkids to have a good upbringing and give them the things that they need to be successful in life. You nurture them. I mean, there's so many similarities and so many things that work exactly the same way. And first responders who do not include the spiritual component are missing out. Now, I'm not saying what your spiritual component is, but I am telling you that if you could look at yourself as an embodied spirit. So in other words, it helps when I think of myself, I say, okay, my exterior, my body is simply the house I live in. If my soul and spirit leave this vessel, this body falls over. Somebody's got to come carry it away.
Right.
Gary's no longer in the house. He gone. And you as a spirit primarily, you have a soul, which is your mind, intellect, and emotions, and you live in this physical body. So how much effort, how much time do you invest in spiritual things for yourself to stay healthy and resilient? Because really, resilience starts within, not outside. People think, well, it comes from the outside in. No, everything starts from the inside and works its way out.
Yeah, I think understanding that is what helped me finally put some pieces together. And like I said, I'm still working on that part of it, but I'm enjoying a better life now than what I did last year or the year before because of that connection spiritually, understanding it better. And it takes effort. It takes time. It takes meditation. Interestingly, you mentioned meditation before, and there's some science out on that, or that has been out for quite a while, I guess. But of course, they debunked the idea of evolution. That's been debunked by scientists, but it's still in their textbooks. And of course, meditation has come up as one of the resiliency building factors. But scientists have also, through psychology and all of those disciplines, as well as medical doctors, neurosciences, have discovered that the type of meditation that you do really makes a difference. And they discovered that spiritual meditation with the Bible as your foundation is the best.
Yeah.
When I read that, it was like I had to read that again.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't quote the names, or anything like that, but it was several universities that actually went through and figured this out. Mathematicians were involved with it, and it was I left that one at home because I wanted to read it some more, and I wish I had it here to actually quote some of the articles that were on that. But it was astounding to me, the admission that the Holy Bible, God's Word, in meditation, is what really will build your resilience. It'll make you a better person. It can make you healthy when you're not healthy.
Well, so okay, that's a lot to take in, and it excites me because it's validation and confirmation. You and I have not had a chance to talk about any of this because
I didn't think I was waiting for a couple episodes away to do a little bit more study on this, but man, that really tripped my trigger, so to speak. You know, it was like, man, this is good stuff, and it's not really well known, but those articles, those reports, those medical journals are out there to support all this.
You know, and there's so many things. You have the support, you know, the scientific support, and you know, I mean, yes, there are other things and other ways that people can make their lives better, but after more than 30 years of public ministry, dealing with people in every possible imaginable situation. I mean, some of the things that I've dealt with and been a part of would make your head spin. You're like, my God. And so the highs and the lows and everything in between. And I can tell you that dealing with people who have a Christian faith or biblical faith and who apply some of these things, I can tell you there's a discernible difference. And I don't know if we've shared this before, and I'm going to share it on air. Things that people have said, things that I've heard, deathbed confessions and testimonies have led me to conclude that there is a discernible, notable difference with the Christian faith.
Yeah.
Now, people can do what they want with that.
Right.
I'm just telling you what I've experienced.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. And really, Chief, what we want to do is help people. We're not trying to hurt them or hinder them. We don't want to condemn them or criticize them. And if ever I offer a prayer or something for people in duress or in a it's only meant to help you. And it helps with your surviving loved ones. It helps with resiliency after you're gone. After you're gone. Because they have to continue. They have to continue to find a way to bounce back and to come back from this difficult situation. And there's something about a faith that tells you will see them again. They've just gone on to wait for you.
Right.
That does something for our resilience, doesn't it?
It does. And case in point is I lost my 31-year-old son, and I would say that being there when he passed on was surreal. I can say that. It was very unexpected. We just had time to get to his bedside and see all the tubes and everything. And of course, when you're part of the fire service, EMS, and even with law enforcement, you have a knowledge sometimes you wish would disappear when you're confronted with your loved one sitting in bed with all the tubes and wires and everything, because your head goes in a bad direction. And it was the resilience that kept me where I needed to be in that, and to support my wife. But when I heard that capacity, how did you say that again? I can't read my writing.
The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties.
To me, the capacity is you're going to work on your own strength for however long you can. But then you need to plug in or connect to additional strength. And I think that's where the spiritual connection was the difference maker, if you will, for me, because we left the hospital and I can remember feeling so empty and just drained. I wanted to be there for my wife, and I was really struggling with that because of my own emotions and thoughts and things that were going through my head. And I made the phone call to you, and I can still remember it was just as though you gave me exactly what I needed at that point to take another breath. And that's what I needed right then. And I'll never forget that conversation. You said, if you'll let me, I'll take care of everything. And in that broken state that I was in, it was easy to turn that over. One, because you were my pastor, and just the authority that you had in your voice. It's like God knew that that's what I had to hear to keep on going. And that's what got me through that and made me realize that, one, yeah, I don't see him no more because his physical body tired out. But I know that I've had encounters with him since, and I know probably everybody's like, right now, but that I know that. Has he sat here beside me? No, but there's things, and I'm not going to go any deeper than that with it, but it caused an assurance to know that he's waiting for me for when I lay my earth suit down.
Yeah. Doesn't that give you such strength and hope and comfort? And why would we want to deprive people from that? To normalize these conversations, to make this available. Honestly, I am in awe and I am humbled that we get to do this here at Post One Recording Studio. We get to have these conversations. No, we're not pushing religion. No, we're not endorsing and promoting it, but we are saying we are endorsing some type of faith-based support and purpose for you. We are endorsing that. You've got to have something that centers you, that's bigger than yourself, that gives you hope beyond the hopelessness, because it's just a matter of time. And I've had hardened police officers sit across the desk from me and weep.
Dispatch from Route 7 Command.
Man, go ahead.
Need a chaplain at this location?
10-4. Attention 3392. 3392, you're needed at the 8000 block of Route 7, multiple vehicle accident. Please acknowledge.
3392 is en route, 8000 block, Route 7.
10-4.
In the darkest blackness of human carnage and suffering, police, fire, and EMS intercede on behalf of mankind. God himself reaches out to those who suffer through their hands. Their service is a clear and unmistakable demonstration that God does not abandon people in the storms of life.